Okay, good afternoon to all IEM and UEM family members, and I'm sure I'm audible and visible. Today, alongside me is Professor Krishnendu Kundu from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at the University of Engineering and Management, Jaipur. And the topic for today is multi-agent based distributed MIS selection for dynamic job scheduling. Okay, so MIS is definitely an important topic for years now, and not not very much was being talked about of late in the afternoon meeting. So something new you have picked up, Professor Krishnendu, in that way. And yes, dynamic job scheduling is very important. So there are few terminologies I can see like multi-agent based, MIS, dynamic job scheduling. I'm sure that you will make it very easy for professors or teachers from all domain over here. Thank you. You may kindly take over.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity to present my research work over the faculty members of UEM and IEM. I hope my screen is properly visible and my voice is clear.
Yes,
So at this,
everything is clear.
okay, thank you for the confirmation. So at first, we need to know about why we are talking about dynamic job scheduling and which kind of job we are talking about. So in this process and in this lecture, we will talk about the dynamic jobs first. Nowadays, when we are using different types of application, whether it is vehicular scheduling or air traffic scheduling, our classroom scheduling or railway scheduling, everywhere the jobs are dynamic in your operating system also. So anytime a new job may appear and we have to schedule that properly. Sometimes we may not have, and most of the times we may not have the proper prior knowledge when the job will appear. So in that case, it will be completely dynamic and we have to cope up with this dynamic situation. In our research work, we haven't considered, or I haven't considered the preemption technique. So we are using non-preemption technique. Maybe in some research field, they will be using preemption, but in our research field, we are assuming that each and every job is atomic. Once we have given the permission to a job to start execution, we cannot stop that, or you cannot say wait for some time and you will be given opportunity again. So we cannot do that. Each and every job we are thinking as a atomic job and no preemption is allowed. Each and every resources are non-shareable. We are assuming, again, it's an assumption. Suppose each and there are multiple algorithms available in the market. We cannot say each and every algorithm can be applied to everywhere. It is not possible. So there are certain test cases where we can apply certain algorithms. That is why I am going to define the test cases or the scenarios where our algorithm can be applied. Okay. So no shareable resources are there. Each and every resources are non-shareable. No hard deadline is there. There are certain algorithms in the market who will work with the deadline. If we have a proper deadline of a job, in that case, we need to have a feature like job rejection, because sometimes it is possible that we cannot schedule a job before a deadline. In that case, if it is a hard deadline, what do you need to do? We need to reject that job, that we cannot do that. But in our case, in our algorithm, the algorithm I am going to describe today, in that case, there will be no hard deadline. Yes, there is a deadline, and if we cross that deadline, there will be a penalty. But it's not like that. We cannot cross the deadline at any cost. It's not the case. Prior information about arrival time is not available. As I have already told you, it's a dynamic. No centralized decision is there. And that is the very vital point, because there are so many available algorithms in the research field you can find till up before this point. But when we are talking about completely distributed approach, there are very few. So we are talking about a distributed approach in this next 25 minutes. Now, priority of the job should be considered, because according to the priority, we have to make the schedule, and properly anti-starvation strategy should be there. As we know already that in case of a dynamic scheduling, what happens when new priority or higher priority job is coming continuously, the lowest priority job will be in a starvation. So we need to ensure that there will be no starvation in case of a lower priority job. So first, after going through this, first let us take this example. Why we are talking about graphs? Why we are talking about MIS? MIS is maximum independent set. So we are talking about graph basically. So what is the relation between job scheduling and the graph? So suppose we have this set of jobs starting from J1 to J10, and we have these conflicts. We know about the conflicts in each and every field in operating system and each and every field in our daily real life, real world scheduling approaches. We know that there are conflicts. Maybe J1 and J2 will not work concurrently. Maybe there is a problem of their resources. There is a single resource that J1 and J2 both are applying for, and both of them cannot be given a single resource. As I have already discussed in the previous slide, that resources we are taking that will be non-shareable. So for various reasons, very obvious reason, there can be conflicts. In operating system, we often talk about the critical section. It's just like that. Okay. So what I can do, we can map this whole scenario into a graph. It will look like this. So J1 will be mapped into V1, J2 will be mapped into V2, something like that. And if two existing jobs have any conflict information, there will be an age between them. So we have certain ages. Now, if we can color this graph, what will happen? Suppose I will going to color this graph. It will look like this. What does it mean? It means the red color vertices have no conflicts among themselves. So V1, V4, V9, and V6, they can start their operation concurrently. Alternatively, we can choose a set of V2, V5, V10, and V7. The green set. Alternatively, we can choose the blue set also. So what does it mean? If we can color a graph properly, we can easily find out, okay, so these are the vertices, they can start concurrently and others may wait. Now if we think in a different way, then we can find that there is no requirement of the complete coloring. Ultimately, we are going to allow a set of job which is getting the highest number of same color. So in this case, it can be green also, it can be red also. So what is the requirement of coloring the complete graph? This is the first point. Okay. First point is there is no requirement of coloring the whole graph. We can color with a single color, suppose with the red, and let them work concurrently. After completion of one particular job, we will try to color the other vertices if it is possible. Clear? From this point, the logic of MIS will come. So MIS is calling maximum independent set. So this red set will be called maximum independent set. Now, if we talk about dynamic nature of the graph, which kind of dynamic nature we are talking about? There are vertex dynamic graph, edge dynamic graph, vertex and edge dynamic graph. So in this case, we are talking about only vertex dynamic. What does it mean? It means new vertices may arrive. Suppose this is our old graph, and a new vertex can arrive, something like that. V6 has arrived in this case, but no new edges can arrive between two pre-existing vertices. So in this example, you can clearly view that V1 and V5, these two are pre-existing vertices, and in between that we cannot draw a new edge. So it is not possible in our case. So we are considering only vertex dynamic graph. Obviously, there are other techniques also, other algorithms in the research field who are working in the edge dynamic. For our case, we are considering only vertex dynamic, not edge or not vertex edge dynamic. Okay. Now, why we are using distributed approach? I hope this portion is very all of you are familiar with this thing. Always distributed approach will be ahead of the centralized approach. If we can manage that properly, there will be a lots of challenges. One challenge will be there, how to communicate with each and every vertex. Huge number of communication is required to send the messages over the network. And the total global view of the system is not possible to have at a particular moment. So in that case, making a decision of scheduling will be a tough thing for distributed approach. But somehow, if we can manage that properly, we will be having these four major advantages. There will be no single point failure. There will be no bottleneck of the central system. We will be having high scalability if we can achieve distributed approach, and autonomous, it will be really autonomous. So everyone can decide for themselves. There will be no single point or single decision taker. Now, what we are doing actually in the whole process, we are trying to map the dynamic job scheduling approach into MIS selection problem, clear? And then multi-agent based approach. So what we are doing after mapping the job scheduling problem to MIS selection problem, we'll be having a graph. And in a graph, there will be multiple nodes or multiple vertices. We will give each and every vertices to each and every agents. The agent will be responsible to select that vertices for MIS. Or alternatively, you can say the M agent is responsible to color the vertices. So if we take this example, what will happen? There are 6 vertices in the first diagram. There will be 6 vertices. So to handle this situation, there will be 6 agents. Each and every agent will work on behalf of their own vertices. Okay. And finally, they want to color it. And as I have already mentioned, when we are talking about color, we will color only with a single color. So practically, we are forming MIS. We are not doing proper graph coloring. We are forming MIS. One particular color will be chosen to color everything. So in this example, for this moment, at this moment, I am taking a graph which is bipartite. However, our algorithm can work in any graph, but this is an example purpose. What we are doing in general MIS, in normal mathematics, in general MIS will calculate by using cardinality. And what is the formula of the cardinality? It will be like this. We should count the number of vertices. So according to the normal mathematics formula, so-called conventional mathematics formula, this answer number C will be correct, because here I'm extremely sorry, answer number B will be correct for normal mathematics. Why? Because we have chosen 3 vertices, but our algorithm will show the answer of the last one, which is showing only 2 vertices. So according to this, our answer is wrong. It should be wrong, because 3 vertices will have beta count than the 2 vertices. Not actually. We are also considering the priority. That is why we change the formula to this. What does it mean? When we are calculating, when we are counting the vertices, priority of the vertices, priority of the jobs will also should be taken into count. So by using this formula, answer number B will have this value, which is less than 2. But answer number C will have this value, which is exactly 2. So what does it mean? We are not considering only count. Count is not the only parameter of our selection process. There is another parameter, that is priority, and that is equally important. So we have changed the conventional cardinality formula to this one, which is written at the bottom left corner. So we can move forward. Now we are going in the main process of MIS selection, how it is working. Okay. So we are using this objective function for MIS selection. If we want to know what is the meaning of each and every parameter, these are the logic behind that. So we have used priority to calculate the objective function, and our main motto is to minimize this. We all know that in multi-agent based communication system, we need to have some sort of objective function which should be either minimized or maximized. So here we are using minimization function, where execution time is there, arrival time is there, we have a proper penalty and priority. These are the types of messages we are going to use. the highest complexity of order of n cube is there. So no exponential complexity. We are So there are no messages which incurs exponential time complexity. All are polynomial. So we are taking this example for the total process. Now we are going to learn what is the main process of priority MIS or MIS selection based on the priority. So I am taking this example. We have 8 jobs, arrival times are 0. So initially all of the vertices are there having their priority. And at this moment, what do you need to do? Each and every vertex will send a message. Clear? Each and every vertex will send a message to the immediate neighbor, only to the immediate neighbor. It's not a complete broadcast. We have to think about the complexity of message passing. It shouldn't be unrestricted. Otherwise, our complexity will be exponential. Anyway, so each and every vertex will send one message to the immediate neighbor. So in case of this diagram, V1 will send a message only to V2 and V3, that's all. Accordingly, everyone will send. What will happen in the next phase after episode 1? The vertices, so let's take example of any particular vertex. So suppose V1. So after sending this message, V1 will receive from V2 and V3. Accordingly, V2 will receive from V1, V3 and V4. So everyone will receive from the immediate neighbor. Now he will check whether his priority is the highest among the neighbors. So V1 is checking that, and V1 finds that his priority is the first priority. Lesser value means highest priority. Okay. So V1 is having the highest priority than V2 and V3. What does it mean? V1 will decide, or this agent will decide to join itself in the MIS, or he will decide to color itself. So V1 will be selected for the MIS. Clear? So if my priority is the highest among the neighbors, I will be the next selection for MIS. Done. Now after this process, so you can easily find out only V1 and V7 can decide himself as in the MIS. Okay, because V1 has the highest priority among the vertices and V7 has the highest priority among the vertices. Others cannot decide. So this is the end. This is called the end of the first episode. At the end of the second episode, what will happen? So at first we need to talk about what will be there in the second episode. In the second episode, V1 and V7, or those who have selected themselves for MIS, will inform this to their immediate neighbors that I have selected myself as MIS or in the MIS. So who will receive the message? Try to calculate who will receive the message. V2 will receive the message. V3 will receive the message. V4 will receive the message. V8 will receive the message from V7 and no one else. V5 and V6 will not receive the message. Clear? Now, as V2, V4, V8 and V3 just received the message that one of their neighbor has already selected themselves for MIS, they will decide not to join. So in the episode 1, V1 and V7 decides to join. After the episode 2, V2, V4, V3 and V8, they will decide not to join. So look here at the bottom left corner. This will be the situation after episode 2. Okay. So they have decided not to join. We are not going to join at any cost because one of our neighbor is already there. Okay. Now still there are few more vertices left after episode 2. What for them? For them, we have another episode that is called episode 3. So those who have selected not to join, like V2, V4, V8 and V3 denoted by the cross, they will send another message to all of the neighbors that I have decided not to join. If you want to, you can do. And that message will be received by V1, V5, V6 and V7. These four will receive that type of message. V1 and V7, they have already joined, they have nothing to do. But V5 and V6, they still have something to do. Clear? So now they will check what is the situation. And according to the scenario, V5 is having the highest priority or the higher priority than V6. That is why V5 will join itself. And again, the same process will continue. So this is not the end of the process. So episode 1, 2, 3, episode 1, 2, 3, episode 1, 2, 3, this will carry on. This is called round 1. So at each round, we have 1, 2, 3 episodes. And again, in the next round, we have 3 episodes, something like that. So this is the main process of PMIS. Now, so far, we have talked about the static graph. What is the dynamicity? Now, let's think about this dynamic scenario. So just consider this scenario. Suppose V1 has completed his operation. So it will look like this. From the previous diagram, it will look like this. After that, let's say V5 completes its job. It will look like this. Suppose after that V2 and V7 left the system. It will look like this. After this point, a new set of node V9 and V12 join abruptly. So this is complete dynamic scenario when V9 and V12, there was no information, prior information that V9 and V12 is going to join. So at this moment, V9 to V12 is going to join. What will happen? So let me mark that who are V9 to V9. So this is V9, V12, newly added vertices, V11, this is also newly added vertices, and this V10, this was also newly added vertices. So what for them? Whenever they are joining, they will send an inform message. The first message we can remember, everyone needs to send this message. So V12 will send the message to V8, whoever is the neighbor. So everyone will send the information. And after a round, everyone will be aware of the situation, the current situation. And according to the situation, you can easily guess what is going to happen. V12 can join immediately. Why? Because his only neighbor is not joining. From the previous case, it is quite evident that V8 somehow he has decided not to join. So obviously V12 will join. But for V10, V9, they has to wait a bit. Clear? So why V10 is waiting? Because he is not the highest priority among the neighbor. There is another neighbor of V10 who is having the highest priority. That is why V10 cannot join. And V11 cannot join just because neighbor of V11 is already there. V4 is already colored. Same for V9, neighbor of V9 is already there. That is why he cannot join. So by this approach, we can be able to calculate our MIS considering the priority also in distributed approach. Okay. Now let me tell you, what if there will be tie in a priority if two vertices having the same priority? So in that case, the tie will be broken by the degree. So whichever is having the highest degree will be given the first chance. Now, if the degree is also same, what can we do? We can use the actual arrival time, and we know in the dynamic environment or in real-time scenario, even if two jobs are joining at the same time, there will be a slight time difference between them, and that arrival time will be the final selection parameter to break the tie. So this is the whole timing diagram of a particular vertex, life cycle of a vertex. Initially, it is in the queue, then it is in the waiting phase, then d is j equal to 1 means it selects that I'm not going to join. It is the case dj equal to 1, and dj equal to 2 means it has joined the MIS. After that, it will start the execution, and finally after the execution, it will leave the message. I mean, it will send a leaving message to everyone and it will leave the system. So we have executed that process or dynamic algorithm to using these benchmark graph instances. we have got this type of results, and this research work is published in this form. Uh, so this was the conference flyer, WIIT. It was in last December. Probably you will not find that paper in the internet. It is not yet available. They usually take 4 to 6 months, but due to pandemic situation, it will be probably it will appear in the over the internet in upcoming 2 months. So I thought that it will be helpful for everyone because it's a new job. It's a new published paper, newly published paper. That is why I'm going to explain this thing. Now I have already sent one poll to Vishajay sir regarding the today's
Okay, so
modern technology and mathematics.
I'm shooting the poll. Okay,
Yes.
so I have launched the poll, and I'm sure that members will vote. I request all members to vote within 1 minute. Please make it fast. With so many new technologies in hand, we need to spend time for study or research on basic fundamental mathematics. So yes, definitely many people are going in the positive direction, but I request all members to vote at your earliest. We are reaching almost 50% votes, but it was a very straightforward opinion poll. So I'm sure most of the members should vote today, which is not happening again. The voting percentage is almost the same like all years. So we have reached 51% votes, with which I close and share the results. So definitely 93% have gone for yes. And yes, basic fundament, according to me, also basic fundamental mathematics is needed, not required. I'm not sure whether it is, I feel it is required. So that was my answer. As an organizer, I am not able to vote any day. Anyway, so there is a question in the questions box. In fact, there are 2 questions in the question box. Should I go ahead with that, Professor Krishnendu, or
Yes,
you have
sir.
any
Yes, sir.
comments? Any comments on the poll prior to that?
No, it's quite evident that we need to spend on time on the basic mathematics because this kind of technology, I mean, the job scheduling, graph coloring for the job scheduling is not a new thing. What we need to do, according to today's scenario, we need to change the old fundamental mathematics according to our need. That is what we need to do.
Okay, so in your discussion, I believe you never touched this P problem, NP complete, or NP hard problem. I believe you did not touch, but
That is
there is,
it's because yes,
yes,
I
but there is a
try I try.
question.
Mhm.
Yeah, there is a question related to that from Professor Showman Nomdi, saying that the
Yes,
job scheduling problem is NP hard. Question is
yes.
what? Just a minute. Question is, what are the graph classes for job scheduling for which the problem is polynomially solvable?
For graph coloring or job
No,
scheduling.
no. What he means to ask is, like, what are the graph classes? The classes. Will you? I think you're classifying the
Yes, yes.
graphs definitely normally.
Okay.
So for which graph classes this job scheduling, or for job scheduling, for which the problem is polynomially solvable?
Okay.
Like, what are the graph
Uh,
classes in which this problem will be polynomially solvable?
that is one type of research work. I have gone through this kind of research work where they identify different types of graph classes and they try to simulate their code by using different type of graph classes. But in our research, we haven't tried that yet. So I cannot comment on that. But let me tell you one line that will be probably informative for you. In our research work, we consider any kind of graph because in normal daily life or real life scenario we do not have any control. Anything can appear. So we do not have any control. That is why we haven't selected a particular category of graph classes. Any graph may come and we have to serve them. That was our goal.
Okay, so those who are not in this field, let me tell you, NP is about non-polynomial problem, and NP complete, NP hard deals with solving or reducing the polynomial, all polynomials to a particular NP problem. Then they are called NP complete problems, or NP, like NP hard also has got a definition like this. So I'm sure that people will get to know that. Anyway,
That is
so
why I kept this part away from
yes,
our
this part
first slide.
is a bit tough for those who are not from computer science. Anyway, Professor Arun Kumar Chatterjee asks, I suppose all edges are with equal weight, priority only by degree of a vertex. That is, you are
No,
assigning the
no,
priority only by the vertex degree. Is not so?
no. Priority is already there. Suppose a job is having the highest priority. If we want to map our train scheduling problem into into this graph, what will happen? The highest priority trains will have the highest priority. The vertex will have the highest priority. So that will be the first selection parameter. And after, if two particular vertices is having the same priority, after that we will compare the degree. Okay, so the first selection parameter is the priority, which is predefined for the vertex, and after that we will talk about degree. And if the degree is again same, then we will talk about the arrival time.
So Arun Kumar Chatterjee sir went, I believe, a little by mathematics, but he means to say that the priorities may be defined depending on the job, like we are when we are using this graph theory in real life problems. Anyway, Professor Ruma Roy Choudhury very correctly says, without basic mathematics, new technologies will reach stagnancy. That is true,
Exactly.
though nowadays students are doing great with even without mathematics, students are like calling functions from here and there. So the life is nowadays software or programming or problem solving has become a lot dependent on calling functions, inbuilt functions. So people who can do that very well are doing good enough in the industry. But yes, you are very correct, Professor Ruma Roy Choudhury, madam, that without basic mathematics, new technologies will not come, research will stop, and in future there will be huge problems. Thank you to all IEM and UEM family members. Thanks, Professor Krishnendu, and we will meet again tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.